Hey, by Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Josue Pavon here after a grueling 109-103 loss by the Celtics. And doesn't sound bad on the scoreboard after, but the Heat did lead by as many as 26.
You had to be there.
Dominant first quarter. Just build a massive lead in that frame. Hit a bunch of shots. Get Bam Adebayo going 5 of 6. Match that shot total from Game 2 with in the first 6 minutes of the first quarter there. They were caught off guard by him. Ime Udoka said afterward they were caught off guard by Miami's physicality, and old bad habits emerge in this game, whether it's the complaining, the turnovers, 23 turnovers, the most in 2 postseasons by a team. It's pretty bad all around coming out of this one, even with a late rally.
Yeah, the Miami Heat kept their composure, and Kyle Lowry also had a big part of that. I mean, look, you look at his stat line, it doesn't look like he may have had, one of the better performances in this one, but in my opinion, I think he did, just because the way he set the table offensively, got right into it, came out to a double-digit lead early on. Bam Adebayo obviously was a big part of this as well. I mean, matching the best 10 points, the best score total he's had this series. He already matched in the first quarter, like you just said, but then also he just kept it going. I felt like in the second half with that physicality, of course, that Ime talked about, alluded to. But also, look, this team just had a different flow in this one, right? They were much more confident. They were almost playing bully ball with the Celtics in a lot of those possessions. And when things went down, even without Jimmy Butler out there, without the heart and leader of their team, they were still able to keep their composure, keep their point. I just thought the Celtics had a chance to really capitalize on that, specifically in the third quarter. Jason Tatum only taking 2 shots, especially with Jimmy Butler out of the mix. I don't think that's going to cut it, Bobby. It's just not, especially in that third quarter where even if you do one of those hero shot or hero possessions or where you try to take matters into your own hands, I thought that would have been a perfect opportunity for him to do that. But he did it. And look, the Celtics played from behind. They try to get out of that deep deficit. And in the fourth quarter, I just felt like the Miami Heat just readjusted and kept that intensity. Enough for them to obviously squeeze this one out. Now, granted, the Celtics did manage to get this thing to 1 point, but it still wasn't enough. And I thought the Celtics missed a golden opportunity here.
They did. Role guys stepped up. They picked up Brown and Tatum. Brown himself, in spite of a high turnover game, scores 40 and hits all of his 2-point attempts. So he was super aggressive. Yeah, he was the biggest reason Celtics stayed in the game, I thought. But every time they made a rally, every time the building got going, and the building stayed in it throughout this push that started early in the second quarter and flowed through pretty much the end of the game to within 1 there, as you mentioned. Yeah. Whether it was Pritchard getting that stop on Butler and a turnover following right after, pulling within 1 on that JAYLEN 3 late in the game, and Strus going back the other way, hitting a 3 of his own, and then stopping JAYLEN on the other side. Even that rally in the third that you talk about, huge third quarter, and ends in a tie. And just where you started.
Right. You had the exact same deficit that you had at halftime. That's just not going to cut it. You didn't take advantage or full advantage of the opportunity that was in front of you.
That's the hard part about going down 26. You can dig, but you're not going to get all the way back.
And listen, some of these turnovers too, like those lazy, pick and pop plays where the guy's not even coming to the ball, guys throwing it behind their shoulder. It was almost as if they were getting too cute because they just thought the comeback was inevitable. And sure, I guess it was in a sense, but you didn't complete it. You didn't tie the game at least, and you didn't pull ahead, of course. Celtics never led once in this game. So, look, the Miami Heat did what they were supposed to, or they did their best in the sense of without their star player, minimizing the damage to a point where they were able to stay ahead the entire second half and then close it out when it mattered most. I mean, you got to tip your hat to Miami Heat, of course.
Yeah, you got to imagine with Butler dealing with some knee swelling that they felt that they could get through the second half without him. They didn't want to push him. They didn't want to risk it. And they had a big enough lead to feel confident about that, 15 at half. Robert Williams misses this one with more knee soreness of his own. Ime Udoka said after the game, day to day for the rest of the playoffs, probably swelling, soreness. Still an issue here stemming from the knee bruise that he suffered in round 2. Of course, came back from the surgery in 3 weeks. Initially, there was fear that it was in response to that. But weird situation for Rob, and then Lowry. Coming back, surprise. You mentioned everything that he brought to the game. I completely agree with that. The feel, that nice little timing on the jumper over Tatum that he hit. There's just a pace that he pushed early in the first quarter, too, that set a tone. So what you lost defensively by Rob being out, where Daniel Tice struggled immensely in his place to start this game, and then the tone and the boost that you could tell Lowry gave by stepping back into the lineup. All three of those things. I know I said Celtics in 5 after game 2. If you told me all that was going to happen in terms of availability, I wouldn't have been saying that.
There's been something unpredictable in every game in this series, right? And I guess some of that extends to the series against the Bucks, but like the Celtics just have to be able to manage that. We talked about it briefly in the Celtics postgame show, where it was like you're supposed to pass those mistakes from the previous series. You're supposed to, not put yourself in these type of situations, or not put together those type of quarters like we saw in the first in this one, or like we saw in that third quarter, in game 1 where they were only scored 14 points. Like the offense cannot be that stagnant, especially against this team that feeds up on they feed off of those type of energy, from the opposing team. So the Celtics have to do better, and of course that starts with Jayson Tatum. The starting 5 as a whole can do better in terms of their execution on the offense, but it starts with Jayson Tatum. It starts with your star. It starts with the guy who essentially got you here, the guy who got you out of that Milwaukee Bucks series. Credit to Al Horford as well, that 30-point performance that sort of saved the series. But at the end of the day, it was Tatum. It was Tatum that has to be the guy to really go for the kill, if you will, in that second half. And he did it. He waited a little too late, and in the fourth quarter just couldn't find his groove, and all of a sudden the Celtics, they just couldn't pull ahead.
Jayson Tatum returned from a stinger. Sounds like he's going to be all right after getting injured in that second half and finishing the last few minutes there. Marcus Smart rolled his ankle. No firm update on his return, but Ime Udoka said he's going to be all right as well, returned in a pretty jubilant moment that, again, was another opportunity for this team tonight, but the Celtics didn't take advantage of any of them, falling behind 2-1 in this series. Here's some of the stuff Al Horford had to say after the game in his post-game presser.
They, from the beginning, their pressure felt like bothered us, and we didn't respond. It's happened to us a couple times, this playoff run, and it's something that we continue to fight, and it seemed like every time we put ourselves in a position, we turn the ball over. So we got to look at the film tomorrow, see how we can be better.
So we'll talk about the ways Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, as Josue previewed there, can respond to one of their worst nights as a duo, ball control-wise, in their career. Most turnovers ever between them two in a game. Check out that at Celtics All Access. Check out Calm. No night like tonight to use it. Is this panic mode for Celtics fans here. Only 2-1 in this series, and we've seen the team bounce back from every loss this postseason. So go to Calm, get the sleep sounds, meditation, and relax into the off day coming up here on Sunday, and get yourself mentally ready for Game 4 on Monday. And of course, HelloFresh gonna feed you right through the weekend and through this entire series. If you take advantage of this deal, HelloFresh.com/playoff16 gets 16 free meals, 3 free gifts. HelloFresh.com/playoff16 for Josue Pavon, Bobby Manning, TD Garden. Game 3, Celtics lose 109-103.